Okay, welcome back to the layout. We are on our advanced DCC series. This is part 11A, and as promised we are doing some work on the new Athearn SD70ACe. I went ahead and purchased the model that did not have the DCC and sound. I wanted to do my own install and save a little bit of money doing it myself, and I also wanted the ability to program my own sounds and sound projects into the locomotive. So in this part I'm going to be doing the mobile decoder install, and I'm also going to be doing a little fix with the ditch lights, and I'll show you that when we get there. And when we get to part B and maybe part C, depending on how far this goes, we'll add the sound to it and probably do some additional programming. So to get started, as usual, we'll be using Digitrax products. I purchased the DH165AO mobile decoder, which is made for the Athearn Genesis as well as a few others. And additionally, I purchased some 1.5 volt decent lamps to replace the ditch lights, and I'll show why I did that as we get further on in the video. And to accompany the new ditch lights, I picked up some 330 ohm resistors to complete the install on that. So we'll get started. Okay, I have the locomotive upside down and up on a little bit of a jig that I made. And to remove the shell, just like on most locomotives, you have to remove the two screws, one here for this coupler box and one here for this coupler box. And two screws additionally, one here up by the truck, right up in here kind of hiding, and there's another one here right up in there hiding. So once you get those four screws out, you'll be able to remove the shell. Okay, once you have those screws removed, this just simply wiggles and very carefully lifts off. Keep in mind that it is an Athearn, and although the detail on this thing is very nice, they do break very easily. So that wiggles off, and okay, once you get the shell off, you'll notice a few things like I did. And the first one I noticed was this area right here, which is an enclosure for a speaker, a round speaker that's 1.1 inches I believe, or thereabouts. That can be placed here, that's built in, which is really nice. The second thing that I noticed is this is a regular Athearn stock light board. Notice how this edge here is flat. On this one, they have a few more leads or prongs here that operate the ditch lights. This posed a little bit of a problem for me because they have both ditch lights plugged in the F1 part of the circuit instead of one light plugged in F1 and one light plugged in F2, which would give you the ability to run each ditch light independently and give you that oscillating look with one light on and one light off and going back and forth. Since both wires are plugged into the one side, they both light up and they both go off at the same time, which is something I really wasn't looking for in this locomotive. Maybe it's prototypical somewhere, although what I've seen, they usually oscillate back and forth. But other than that, it's your pretty standard Athearn mechanism and light board. A few different options you can do is you can remove this part of the circuit, which tells it to run on DC. That just comes right off, and you can put in just a regular Digitrax DH123D, and that'll just pop right in here, and that'll give you basic mobile functions, so you can run the locomotive in DCC. These only run about 18 bucks, so if you're not looking for the sound, you can just pop this in here and be ready to go within a few minutes. Another option you can do is the new Digitrax SDH164. This also will pop right in here, give you mobile functions, and it even comes with the capacitor and speaker. If you've been following around in the rest of the series, you see me use this decoder before. This of course will pop right in here in some fashion. I haven't gotten that far yet. But this decoder runs about $40 to $45. It retails for about $50, so depending on where you go. So that'll save you a little bit of money there if you want to put this in, and again, it'll be done in a few minutes. The third option is what I'm going to do, and that's the full light board replacement. I'm going to program or install the ditch lights on these pads, and I'll show that in a little bit and why I do it that way, and allow me to do some programming on the ditch lights, and it'll allow me to put in a sound bug here a little bit later. And what that does, I can program CVs on this board and programs on the sound portion independently and give myself some different effects. So that's what we're going to work on today. Okay, for a little bit of a brief explanation as well as some prep work, I have tinned all of the ends of each prong on the new decoder, as well as a few of the pads. This one here, the bottom two here on the bottom, as well as this top pad here, and hopefully you can see this okay. And the reason for doing that is currently the locomotive uses these clips, which do work okay. However, a solder connection does work a little bit better. If you don't want to use a soldering gun, you can certainly reuse the clips that are on a locomotive and reattaching your wires. Second thing about this, explaining why I soldered some of the pads, is this pad here, the bottom two, which is F1 and F2, are the equivalent to your green and violet wires of your decoder harness. And this top pad here is the equivalent to your blue or common positive, again here in your harness. So instead of dialing into your harness here and trying to control it that way, we're simply going to resolder the wires to the decoder itself accordingly. Okay, to remove the stock light board, all I've done is taken the plastic clips and removed them from the board and pulled the wires out of their spots respectively. I've taped a few of them off so I know where they go, on which side they go on when I go to put the new board in. And once you do that, there's these little plastic tabs here that you just push in or push the board out either way, kind of like so. And once you do that, the board will come right up. I can do this with one hand, hopefully. If not, I'll have to put it down. There we go. Just comes up like that. And the old board comes out. The new board will go in the same manner. Put the two clips in that are in the openings that's provided. There we go. And the spot here with the socket for the sound bug goes in the rear, and the spot here with the pads go on the top and towards the front. And now it's just a matter of reattaching the wires in the appropriate spots. Okay, and all I'm doing now is simply placing the wires back onto the new light board decoder in the same places where I took them from, which includes track current, each side of the rail here, and again here, and two leads to the motor. I have not done the two leads here in the middle on either side or the lights yet. I'll probably get to that in the next episode because I want to do a little more explanation on that. But otherwise, we're ready for a test run, and we'll see how it goes.